Hey guys, my name is John Parmenter. I run Ride Revival and Outdoor Adventures. I do a lot of documenting and fabrication and custom paint work, and today we are going to change a quarter panel on a first generation Toyota 4Runner. We're going to take this right here and we're going to make it look like so I've got a donor panel up here. There is a couple of places out there that you can get restamps from, but I've gotten some feedback saying that don't try to use the restamp parts. They don't fit very well. You're best off to go get a new quarter panel from a donor rig and then use the OEM parts to swap it over. And I've done a lot of these quarter panel changes. This is the first Toyota 4Runner that I've done one on, but I followed that wisdom and advice on the passenger side. As you guys can see, it's already been replaced and it was really nice to work with. So I'm going to do that same thing over here, and I figured because there were so many of you guys curious about this kind of thing, because I know the 4Runners are getting popular for restorations, that I would document this one for you guys and show you how I do it. I've done a lot of these. This is how, you know, back in the day in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't a lot of restampers out there, especially for stuff like this. And so this is how you did all restorations, is you'd go and you'd get to all those wrecking yards that aren't really here anymore. But you would go to one of those wrecking yards and this is what they would give you. They'd give you like a quarter chunk of a car, whatever you needed. And then you throw it in the back of your truck and bring it home and do what you will with it. So, well, as you guys can see, I've already got this side cut open. We had a bunch of rust. I'll throw some pictures in here. We had a bunch of rust over here that went all the way down through, and I've got some videos if you guys want to skip back on the video list for this thing. I'm documenting the whole project. But anyway, I've got the donor rig all cut open and I did some floor work. This body mount was actually rotten pretty well. And so I've already replaced the body mount and this section of floor and recut the hole for the body mount hardware and all that stuff. And so we kind of moved around. So this is what I'll kind of show you as we take the donor apart. Down inside there's some pieces like this that all got rotten out. This one came from a beach area on the East Coast, so it had a bunch of sand and salt water in here that rotted it all out. But that's in here, so you know you got this layer, which is this piece that I need to replace. This one was rotten, so, and this one, so 1, 2, 3. This piece has already been replaced, so that's 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers out here. So this has all got to be built back up out here. We got it all prepped and was looking for a donor. They're a little bit harder to find nowadays, but I got my hands on it. So I went ahead yesterday and went around the corner and we found a big pocket back here that was all rotten out. And the same thing here, we had 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer in here, there's a bracket, and then 4th layer down here to go makes up the corner and goes around for the quarter panel. So stab yourself. Ow. That right there is underneath the tail light, right here in the corner. And on this side of it, it's all rotten out behind this. So there's no way I was ever going to get to it. We'll do this side basically just like we did the other side. But I got to finish getting all this stuff out so that I can get down to the actual rock. Oh boy. All right. All right, so, get our pointer. I told myself that you guys love these pointers, and so I'm gonna try to bring them back for you here at 25. How's that sound? So right here, this nastiness right there. We gotta get to it because it's over here. And so if we cut this piece out right here, there's a backer behind there, which is this piece right here for the tailgate. And I'm looking at it, and let's say that we want to remove this section, which stops right here. That's this piece that goes up. If we want to take this out to get behind it, we need to figure out what that's attached to. So I busted it loose, and it looks like there's only two spot welds right there and there. If that's the case, then I should be able to cut maybe above it. Or I can clean this side off over here and see if there's any spot welds in the bottom of it. Ultimately, we need to get that out of there, or get the whole chunk out of there, so that we can fix the back of it and then put a good one on and then finish fixing it. So I'm trying to figure out the best avenue to get there. Know what I'm saying? That's got a hole in it, and that's got a hole in it, which is out here. And this piece is probably going to have a hole in it too. So, as far as what you're going to see is concerned, that's all down behind the tailgate, because that's where the tailgate mounts. So, I mean, we just got to fix the rust and get it sealed and killed and treated and repainted or something. So, alright, well, I think I'll clean this paint off to see if I can see any spot welds, and I'll clean this up real quick and see if there's any spot welds back here holding this bracket onto this side. There probably is. I'd like to be able to just take this bracket out of this so that I can nice and finely trim where I need, but I don't know. Let's drill some holes and see. You're so close. A couple of them bad man jams. You guys want to go over here and watch? Okay. We gotta see if we can find any spot welds. Oh joy. Oh, I was afraid of. There's 2 in the bottom, and then there's 4 in the top here. And that's to hold the tailgate. I mean, that's good, but fuck, not for me. Yeah, that's right where the bracket stops. Man. Now the question is, do we want to section this? The way to do it is to take this whole piece off of the donor, the whole tower, but that means I'd have to work on the upper quarter panel too, and I don't want to do that. There's nothing wrong with the top of it. Where's this bracket stop at? Like, all right, let's do something here. All right. Tried to film it all for you. Woo! Okay. Well, now we can get this next layer out, I guess. This is all nasty. I'm just gonna do like I thought. I'm just gonna cut right along the flat. Right here, where this bump is. Stop, I'm just gonna stay below it. Take that chunk out and then see what we got going on. Want to see something fun? What's this? Yeah, that's fun. Okay, stay. Yeah, it's like a really wet noodle. Okay. All right, we're done here. All right, well, I think we took 1, 2, 3 pieces off over here. 2, 3. Oh, there's a little thingy we got to put back in here at some point. Where'd it go? Oh, this thing. Because I had these bolts in it that was holding all this together. We've got a bunch of donor work to do, and we want to save a bunch of this. I don't think that I'm going to run it up here. This is a really nice quarter panel, but I don't need the whole thing, and I think it'd be less work and it would match the other side if I just kept all the work inside the flare. I'm debating on whether I want to cut it short of the jam or cut it in the jam or cut it all the way straight through. and take this whole section out and replace the whole piece, which would let me get in there. I'm gonna kind of work through that as we get into it and as the thing comes apart, and kind of just make the best judgment call on it. But for right now, what we need to do is we need to get some of these areas cleaned off so that we can see all the spot welds and get through and drill all the spot welds out so that we can loosen up this quarter panel. It's in really good shape, and I thought it was almost pristine, and then this morning I threw it up and peeled this piece off, and there is a little bit to be dealt with in there. But overall that's okay, because we got a bunch of work to do anyway. So let's get the drill bit out and let's get set up, and we'll get all this stuff cleaned off and start popping her loose. Here we go, guys. All right, so instead of starting with the spot weld cutter, I like to go through with a small drill bit and drill a pilot hole all the way through. No matter what you're doing, you're going to be welding these holes up when you're done, so as long as they don't end up too big, which, I mean, you can see that the spot weld's actually pretty big. As long as you don't knock a huge hole in it, you're going to be welding it up anyway. So I like to go through and pilot hole them, and then I'll step up the drill bit or go to the spot weld cutter. I do actually like to just use a regular drill bit once the pilot hole is drilled, because then this is a little bit larger than the spot weld, and it'll leave a little bit of a V. So if it's caught just on the edge, you should be able to just pop it free with either the air chisel or screwdriver. So that's my mission, because I also know that I'm gonna need that piece back there that it's attached to. So I'm trying to save all of that so that we can transfer it over here. So next step, I'm gonna go to a larger drill bit and drill those out. Alright, well, we're going to start with holes like that. And see just what kind of nonsense we can pull off here without too much BS. If you guys have been here since the Ford, you remember this tool. Just give her a little love tap, see if anything pops. Yeah? Okay. No, not quite. Okay. Still caught. It's probably because the spot weld's bigger than that. Okay. That's starting to split it. Okay. Think I got it. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. I'm just getting on the edge of the panel behind it. Trying to just give it a little jar and see. That one I can see a ring that where the two panels separated. Oh, and I can see that on the top of that one now. So I think it's just slightly hung up on the bottom. We'll just cool. So I'm free to here, I think. Just quite, not quite. I think what I'll do is I'll run that small spot weld cutter back in them. Let's go with the small bit. Let's give it a little left tap with the small one. What was that hung up at this one on? Okay. Usually you can hear it too. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. That was just caught, right? Oh, there's three. There we go. Alright, that one's loose now. That one's loose. There we go. Did you hear it click? Yep. Okay. Okay. Let's get this one right here. I don't need this part, I need that part, and I just knocked it free. Small hole. Cool. So the door jam's not loose yet, but at least across the rocker it is. Slapping. It's loose. Not too bad. Not too bad. Well, let's see. Yeah, that one clicked. Yeah, there's 3 layers from here back. And that's that piece, that middle piece we need too. So we just got to be careful not to cut through it. Cool. Okay. I can see that one separated. I can see that one separated now. Alright, cool. Okay, okay. Let's go dolly. Hey, sometimes I just hold on for dear life. There it goes. Okay. I don't mess it up too bad. All right, so we got everything busted loose, and you can kind of see in there where there's a dark ring where it pops loose. So we've got all these popped where we want it, and like I said before, we need to save the pieces that are behind this. So being we're loosened up here and all the way around the wheel well, it's time for me to cut this, and we'll go back over to the rig and reference where we're at before we cut the donor. I like how the other side came out where the bodywork was inside the flare, because even if you end up with waves from putting too much heat in there, which is inevitable because you're welding, at least the bodywork's in this small area and not up in the middle of the quarter panel. So I'm going to try and keep it minimal. It worked out really good on the other side. So really the question is to start with, where do we want to trim this and stop? But we don't have to answer that to get this one off, because we're not going to go higher than this body line right here when we put the new piece on, and we're not going to go higher than this body line here when we put the new piece on. So that means that on the donor we can basically cut like this. And then the question would be in the door jamb, do we want to seam it like this, or do we want to seam it like this, or exactly what do we want to do there? Probably the best way to do it is to finish popping the spot welds here and then the door jamming along the edge here, and then we could take this whole section out, maybe go around the VIN plate, maybe pop the VIN plate off and then replace it when we're done, hide some of the seam behind it, kind of a deal. But that would be the best way to do it to keep us from having a weld patch like this. Now the welds on the inside on the other quarter panel that I've already replaced, they ended up really nice. So I'm not too concerned about doing it that way. And that is a butt weld. But I'd rather not have a vertical seam. A vertical and a horizontal. I'd rather just have one or the other. So the bottom line is that I can take this and I can cut it above that body line there, and I can cut it like this and probably into the door jamb. I might even cut it like this and then go up and then over, just to have enough of the skin when we take the skin off. And then I can follow that, stop short of where it transitions, and then just go around this follow that body line and take the whole flare out, come back down, go back across, and then just cut that right there, and this is all loose, and we should be able to just lift that one out and set it on the table, and then start tackling the rest of what we need under here, because we need a few more pieces off of this. We need this one and the rest of this back piece, and you know, some of these. So, and keep scabbing away at it till we get all of our pieces. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut that right now. Okay. Yep, that's good sounds. So we're pretty loosened up. I got my fingers under this side, and you can see how we're moving all the way there. So that's good. I haven't popped these handful of spot welds in the door jamb yet, and I've got to loosen up this last piece in this corner back here. So this all wraps three-dimensionally around itself. And that's what gives it its strength and its structure. So when I take it apart, I just have to not bend the crap out of everything. I mean, that's about as far as I'd like to go, and that's pretty easily fixed with hammer and dolly. And the back layer is still nice and straight, so I know it's where it needs to be for when it goes on there. I'm gonna finish getting this loosened up on this side, and then we'll go over there and we'll cut those spot welds. There's a blocker in here, and it's got a bead of seam sealer adhesive on it, so you got to break that line before you just try to peel this thing apart, otherwise you'll bend it. I took a whole bunch of structure out when I cut it. we go. Alright. Oh, skin's off. This is the piece that we needed. And this one right here, which is, see, 1 bump, 2 bump, and then right in the middle of the 3rd one. So 1, 2, right in the middle of this one is where I cut it. So somewhere in here is where I welded it. And then that's the eyelet and where I replaced and cut. And so there's the eyelet, was right there. And then I replaced it in here. Cut this piece out. So we need this piece of wheel well. We need this piece here. And then we need the structure piece. And then we'll put the skin on. Clear as mud? Okay. So we need this piece. And we need this piece. And we need this piece right here. More spot weld cutting. There we go. Alright. We gotta dissect. So we gotta dissect the layers here and figure out what the order of assembly was. So it looks like the wheel well, or the inner wheelhouse, will be the first piece that I take, and I know that I need, you know, some of this. Probably this has got some rust to it over here, and this one's got a little bit over here too. But I need to replace some of that nastiness. I don't want to leave that in there. The one on the table is in a lot better shape, and then obviously I want this piece right here, which is this piece here. So I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. And run a scraper in here and a wire wheel and get down to this seam. This is the piece that I replaced in the truck already. That's the side of the motor mount, or the body mount. And then this is the piece that I need. So I gotta start with this piece and get it off, and get this piece off. And then we can work on taking this one off. So we'll have to fish out from underneath there, like we did on the truck. And then once all that's out of the way, drill these ones and take this piece that we need here, and we should be where we want to be with that part. Once that's done, we'll start working our way back here. heard that sound a bunch of times. That's what we're looking for. Come on. At this point, it's more important to keep these panels straight and true, because these are all going to go back together. This one, and this one, and then the quarter panel skin all came from this donor. So it's more important to keep these straight than it is not to blow a big hole in it. So I'm not too worried about that. I just want them to come apart really nice and easy, so that way I can transfer them straight over, and that I know this is going to line up with what came off of here, and then transfer the whole unit over. Even if it's one piece at a time, just be patient. Nice. I like it. I like it, guys. I like it. All right. Woo! All right. Okay, now we need, we're gonna go straight right here. And we need this piece. There's just 2 more spot holes right there. Alright, so we got the inner wheelhouse popped loose here, and then we transfer around to that one. We got it popped loose to there, and then you can see that that whole thing's nice and loose now. So we need to get this off, and I could just cut it like this, right? But we need to go over here and we need to reference our truck and see how much of this we want to replace. See, we need to start like right here and take, you know, out like this. And we might as well just take the whole thing, because this is pretty rotten on the bottom of it, and this is rotten on the face bad. It skips a spot, and then it gets pretty rotten over here again. This piece is okay, and that's okay, I've been treated. So then we go back over here and we look. Well, that's all of this and this, and then so we can cut this up high enough, which is above this hole, right? So we cut like this, and then it looks like we moved right in here. Right where this little bump is for the wheelhouse covers, the inner wheel well covers. This relief right here in the inner wheelhouse is for the square is it? For that. So we'll just have to look on this one and see. Yeah, so there it is on that one. So we need to go above that. So we can cut like below that. That's our stop line. Yeah, so on the donor I can cut it below that. This stuff's all good to there. And then right here is where we start again. So I can basically leave all of this meat here, and then up here is where I'll start and take this out where we need. I just need to visualize that and measure it and whatever before I cut the donor so that I have enough meat left to still get my piece that I need here. So this is my little indicator bump, so cut below and below. I'm going to go below that right there, which is going to be this much extra to work with around the corner. Okay, ready? Let's cut it some more. That's the section we need. That right there. The reason is because I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it has a weird twist right here to where this flat panel comes down and then ducktails back up and then over. And in order to make that and keep it in the right spot, man, that has so many hours into it. So, you know, it's not impossible, but it's asking a lot and trying to keep that corner of that wheel well in the right spot. So this is the best way to do it, is to use OEM pieces. Just like you can see, it's still all nice and flat and true and still coated and nice, but we've been here a minute, haven't we? All right, so we need to fillet this open so that we can knock this up. So we need this panel right here. I'm looking at it now, it actually curves around onto the side of that body mount right there too, so I'll have to knock it loose here. Let's just do that real quick right now. Okay. Could be using the air hammer, but I don't want to bend any of this stuff, so I'm just trying to get it to loosen up. There's something there. It's not this corner that you see right there. I already pretty much remade that, but we need the panel that's underneath it, so I'm trying to get to here. Top side of it I don't need. I need the layer underneath. So let's see if we can. Popped already. Yep, good. Okay. Okay. Stuck to the side of a floor piece. Ooh, there's a hero. Oh, loosey goosey that thing is now. Oh yeah. You would think we were done with the donor. We still got to do that back corner. Shop a little bit. We're over here Monday morning getting back on things. Now that we have our quarter panel cut loose and skin that we need, we can go ahead and start addressing this back corner back here. But it's a few layers deep, and so I gotta start disassembling the donor over here and taking the pieces I need. So we need this piece here, which goes around into the door jamb, into the tailgate jamb, I guess. This is the rear cross member for the body, and it's fine on the actual vehicle. So we need to split this apart, and our bracket from the original vehicle back here for the tailgate hinge is still in decent shape. So I don't necessarily need to save it, but I do need to get this piece out without bending it up or mangling it, because I need this part too. So I was thinking about maybe just cutting here straight up and just taking this whole chunk and putting it on the bench and working with it, but I'm afraid that the smaller the part is, the harder it's going to be to work with, because I gotta have to push on it to drill the spot welds out. So I kind of think I'm gonna get in here and drill some spot welds from the back and just start kind of taking this loose a little bit and see if I can get it to free up a little bit. And then on the 4Runner, we cut it right underneath this bump, right above here and right below there, and we went kind of straight like this. And then there was one spot weld right here in the corner, so I got to clean up all the little, where's it at? There was one hole right there. So there's the tail light, and then we went above where it jocks out right there, and then below this bump, and then there's one spot weld right there above it. So we'll come back over here and look. We just need to be mindful of all this so we don't tear it up. So if we cut straight across here like this, then there's a spot weld right there. So we'll clean all the paint off of this so that we can see all the spot welds. And then there's two back in here that are this bracket right here. So we'll pop all those loose and see if we can get this corner, that bracket, to come out, so we can cut it right here. We'll cut it above the bump so we've got extra to work with. And then we got to get in here after that's out of the way and take us a chunk of this piece too, because that's where our skin is going to sit right here, and this whole bottom corner was all rotten out. So there it is. Savvy? Savvy. Okay. Let's get this stuff all cut apart. Going through now and using the chisel and manually knocking not the part that I want to save, but the one that it's attached to, and pushing it away from the spot weld to see if I can free the spot weld up. And you can see I'm freed up here, 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 and here, so I'm just kind of working myself around, trying not to damage the donor panel, because that's the one that we want to save. So I'm just going to go a little bit at a time, see if I can free it up. Anything we're not saving, we don't have to worry about damaging, so push it away. See if it's... Well, I just had to go offload the memory card because we are already like 55 clips deep on doing what we're doing here. So we split it into multiples.